Welcome to the Wolves Den and another action figure review. Today we are taking a look at the Star Wars Black Series figure of Darth Revan. Darth Revan comes to us from the Old Republic series of games. He's got a long and storied history, being both dark side and light side and all points in between, and all of which may or may not be canon. But none of that really matters right now because we're just curious to see what the figure looks like. So let's bust him out of the package and take a look at him. And here we have Revan removed from his packaging. Let's take a look at his articulation to start off. We'll start with the head here. He cannot move his head to the side, at least not with this hood on there. This hood is solid plastic. It's attached to the upper body here. It doesn't turn on its own. You can move his head, like if you use your thumb here, and you can kind of push it to the side like so, or down if you want him to look down, but that's about all the movement you're going to get. And this piece also hinders his arm movement, so it can move up to the side that far as normal, but then it can't move any higher. You can't rotate it up at all. So it can only pretty much go that far, maybe a little higher. Maybe you can force it up at a slight angle there, but not really very far. He does have a single jointed elbow, and that does rotate. His wrists rotate, and then this wrist moves in and out, and his right one moves up and down. His torso here does have a pivot to it, so he can move it a little to the side and back and forth, but that's about it, and it does rotate. What also rotates are his legs here. And let me zoom out a little bit so you can see better. But there's a waist rotation also. So yeah, he can got a rotation at the waist, which is a little unusual. I don't see that too often on Black Series figures. Now then if we move this out of the way, he can move his legs out to the side about that far, which isn't very far, and then forward 90 degrees. He does have a thigh swivel, but it's pretty tight, so I'm not even going to, well, this one's not as bad, so, but yeah, you can see there's a thigh swivel there. And then he's got double jointed knees, and then his feet move up and down, like so, and then there's also a pivot. And that is it for his articulation. Taking a closer look at Revan, we see that he does have a very nice head sculpt. Too bad it's trapped underneath this heavy plastic hood here, but the details are nice on it. The paint apps are really good. So it's a nicely detailed head sculpt. And the hood, this heavy plastic hood, you know, it limits movement a lot, but it does look nice. It is sculpted nice. He's got his bronze breastplate here. Some nice, you know, black straps. The rings on his belt, really nice looking. This piece here goes all the way around. Really don't know what the purpose it serves, but you know, there it is. And then the red thing hanging down here. You know, all nicely sculpted. Gives him a very nice look. Underneath his skirt, he's got some, I really like his boots. I wish they weren't hidden by that skirt, but because he does have some really cool armored, you know, leg plates here. And then we do have the fabric skirt and cape, and they're all like pre-cut here, pre-worn to make them look battle damaged and worn out. So that's a nice touch. Although the thing I do not like about these fabric capes, they're nice that they don't really hinder movement. They do look a little more realistic, so they look nice, but I feel like eventually they're going to slowly fall apart, because just handling him as I have today, I found a lot of these little fabric pieces have fallen off. So given time, these things are going to they're going to look more than battle damage. They're just going to completely fall apart, I think. I'm really worried about the seams coming undone over time, like especially up here, because there's a seam right here sewn in, but this side isn't sewn in. I think it's already come undone. So, I'm worried about that in the future, about, this basically truly falling apart. Revan does come with a pair of lightsabers. First is his Sith lightsaber here. It's got a very kind of plain looking hilt as far as design, but it is very well sculpted and the paint apps are nice on it. So it does look nice, but it's kind of a basic design. You see the red blade here, and I'm fairly certain that the blade does remove from the hilt, because you can see that they do, the hilt does spin here, so I'm pretty sure that's just pegged in, but I'm not going to try to pull it out right now because I think I might possibly break it if I try too hard. So I don't want to do that right now. Possibly warming this up will loosen it up so it could just pop right out, but I'm not going to attempt to do that right now. He's also got a Jedi lightsaber here with a nice purple blade, and this is very well detailed. It's a lot cooler looking hilt here. Nice details, nice paint apps on there. And again, I believe that's just pegged right in there and they could pop right out, but again, I'm not going to try. He does hold the blades really well, especially the Jedi one, because it is kind of a chunkier hilt here, so it fits in his hand really well. No problems at all. The Sith one, since it is just more of like a simple cylinder, it fits in his hand, but it's a little bit of a looser fit. It's not really much of a problem, but it might slip and slide around a little bit. Alright, and now for my final thoughts. I have a few problems with this figure, all of which I've mentioned earlier, but I will elaborate on them a little bit more here. The first would be the hood, the heavy plastic hood that's attached to his body. I wish they would have found a better way to craft that, because as it is, it looks good, but it totally limits his ability to turn his head or to move it in any way at all. So he's pretty much always just going to be staring forward. Secondly, it also limits his arm movements, so he's got limited posability in the arms because of it. So some of the poses you might want to put him in, you're just not going to be able to do. Also with the arms would be his elbow articulation. Just the way they're sculpted, it limits his ability to, again, pose in certain positions. So I wish they could have found a better way to sculpt those elbows or give them double jointed elbows so that you could pose them a bit better with his lightsabers. Also would be his cloth cape and skirt. They're a nice idea, they look good, but I'm just afraid that over time they're going to start falling apart or fraying to the point that they're just going to disintegrate, I think. I could be completely wrong, but I just have this bad feeling that they're going to completely fall apart. Even if he does have some articulation issues, he still is a very nice looking figure, and the poses you are able to get him in, he still will look good, because they did a nice job on the sculpt and the overall look of this figure. So I still like the figure, but he just has some limitations and some things holding him back that I wish they could have done better on. And with that, I hope you all enjoyed this review, and I hope to see you again for another review very soon. Until then, thanks for watching.